Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. It's time for our third video review of the Wreckers versus the Combaticons. And this time we're taking a look at the choppers in the group. We have for the Wreckers, Whirl, and for the Combaticons, Vortex. Of course, both of these guys were in the Generation 1 lineup. Whirl here was originally a deluxe Autobot and was known for looking a little bit strange for a Transformer, and we'll cover that when we get to him. And then, of course, Vortex was a Combaticon in the original. As we can see, they've done little to disguise their helicopter modes, as the rotor blades are prominently featured on their left arms. And they each come with a pair of nasty-looking swords. Of course, Whirl has a little extra weapon here, and we'll cover that in just a moment. Let's take a closer look at these Generations toys. Okay, first up we're going to take a look at Whirl here. As you can see, he's just like Vortex. He does have two of these swords. We'll bring it up close so you can have a look at it. See, Whirl's is in a dark blue base with a light blue blade. He has two of them, as you can see, because the other one's in his left hand. It's just that he does not have any spot on him where he can carry the extra blades, so that's kind of a disappointment in the toy. You always like them to be able to hold all their weapons, even if all he can do is store one. Then again, he does have holes here in the back of his foot, but unfortunately, that's going to make things stand out beyond his foot, so that's not going to look right either. At any rate, let's take a look at his gun, since he's got a rather unique-looking weapon here. Like all the Autobots in this series that form Ruination, they come with an extra weapon. This looks to be some sort of multi-barreled cannon, almost like a Gatling gun. And of course, when you slide the lever forward here, the barrel will pop out and it will rotate. Not bad. That's better. That gets us a little more action. So we do it right into the camera here. There we go. That's kind of cute. It's not the best, we'll go with that, but it is kind of a cute little gimmick. Let's get the other sword out of his hand so we can take a better look here at Whirl. And obviously his colors do not match his Generation 1 counterpart, as he was basically predominantly a light blue color. But he does carry over something close to his G1 counterpart, and that's in the head sculpt. It has him depicted with a single eye, like a Cyclops, which is how the original Whirl was done up. So at least that's one nice holdover from his Generation 1 days. Now, of course, we also got, if the enemy really does get up close and personal and Whirl doesn't have his swords, he can always probably try to slash at them with his rotor blade here. Kind of a nice bonus weapon, if you want to go that far with it. Anyway, let's take a look at some of his articulation. You could turn the head from side to side. These raised pieces here on the chest are going to keep it from going too far. And his head is on a ball joint, so it can look up and down. You can raise his arms up at the shoulder about so far. And he does rotate his arm at the shoulder all the way around. He does have a joint at his elbow. So you can bend his arm at the elbow about 90 degrees. And he does have a slight swivel at the bicep, so he does have the G.I. Joe's battle grip. He can be turned here at the waist, like so. His legs can be spread apart into almost a full splits. You can raise his leg up at the hip only so far due to the fact this bit of armor around his waist gets in the way. You can bend him at the knee 90 degrees. And apparently even lower in the leg can be bent as well. Plus there is a swivel in his thigh. So he does have quite a bit of range of motion, which is something nice. The original had a fair amount going for him, but certainly nowhere near to this extreme. And of course, as these guys were bought brand new, again, a good shout out to Cyclonus150 for donating these to the channel. We do have Whirl's card. Card art there isn't bad. Kind of makes Whirl look a little more impressive. But at any rate, let's turn it around here to the back side. And you can see the robot mode and the chopper mode, which we'll get to here in a moment. Apparently he becomes a Cybertronian assault chopper. And we'll see that with Vortex as well in a little bit. Let's take a look here at what it gives for his bio. It says, no one has ever seen a helicopter pull the stunts that Autobot Whirl makes look simple. He twists easily through the air, nearly matching the speed and maneuverability of the numerous Decepticon jets. His flashy behavior makes him a target on the battlefield, but taking fire is all part of the job. If the Decepticons are focused on him, after all, they won't see his teammates closing in. And again, this is part of an homage to the original toy, as Whirl did like to fly around in rather bizarre manners, mainly due to the fact that it would make the Decepticons believe he's crazy. However, doing that too many times did cause many of them to realize he's not crazy, he's just strange. So the tactic didn't work too terribly long. And then, of course, here we got an ad for Ruination, and the instructions have him becoming an arm or a leg. Or at least they say he becomes an arm or a leg, but the instructions only show him being built as the leg. So if you want to know how to build him as an arm, you'd have to buy Vortex. We'll cover that when we'll cover more into that when we talk about the big guys. Anyway, let's get down here to the tech specs for Whirl. It gives his strength and intelligence as 6. His speed is 8, as well as his endurance. His rank is 6, his courage is 10, his fire blast is 6, and his skill is 10. So he's roughly close to being about an average warrior, since at least half of his stats are all 6s. So he's somewhat above average when you consider the fact that he's very fast, has a fair amount of endurance, very great on his courage, and is very good at his job. So all in all, not too shabby. But now let's just switch things up and take a look at his Decepticon counterpart. Now here we have Vortex, the Decepticon version. And of course, we'll have you take a look here at his swords. His swords are in a purple base with a yellow blade, which doesn't look too bad. Especially when you can see that the color scheme sort of matches with him, as he does have some yellows on him, but he's primarily red and purple. So he has a rather wicked-looking color scheme. Now, while there was some traces of purple on the original Vortex toy, there was certainly none to this extreme. So Vortex here is a very radical departure from his Generation 1 counterpart. Then, of course, also, unlike his G1 counterpart, the rotor blades are permanently attached. So you will not want to try to pop those off, because as you can see here, they are somewhat on the thin side, and I really don't want to break this. So we're not going to go to that extreme. But as you can see also, he does have the same rough amount of articulation as Whirl does. Bend at the elbow, swivel the bicep. He swivels a little easier, actually, for being a brand new toy than what Whirl did. Do the twist, do the splits, again, raise up, raise back, and twist the thigh. So, nothing new here. It's one thing that's at least a good thing about them being the same. If you know how to deal with one, you can deal with the other one with relative ease, just as long as you're somewhat cautious. Again, we'll take a look here at the file card, and card art looks almost the same. Reasonably, but they got them in different poses, so at least they didn't go cheap like that. On here in the back, we got him as the Cybertronian Assault Chopper. Of course, they have him facing the other way. And take a look here at his bio. It says, few Autobots fear a fight against Vortex. What they fear is being captured and at his mercy. He uses magnetic grapples to haul helpless captives high into the sky. There, he treats them to a terrifying series of swoops, loops, and dives before dropping them to their doom. And again, this is a slight holdover from his G1 era, where his function was as an interrogator. And that was his main method, to interrogate his captives. One thing I'd like to point out here is, obviously, we're looking at a prototype version of the toy. As you can see, the blades here almost have a more purple-gray look on them, but you also look down here at the picture for Bruticus. The blades almost seem like they're in a darker purple color instead of the almost violet color that we got here on the released product. Anyway, we take a look at his stats here. It gives his strength as 4, his intelligence is 6, his speed is 8, his endurance is 6, his rank is 5, his courage is 7, his fire blast is 5, and his skill is 7. So Vortex does shift more to being about an average warrior. And as you can see, with his low strength, that's probably why the Autobots don't fear fighting him so much, because he really isn't that physically strong. But when you're an interrogator, your weapon of choice more is fear. And it kind of looks like that carries over a little bit into the new toy. Alright, now, we've had a look at the two of them. Let's get ready and transform them into their chopper modes. Now here we have both Whirl and Vortex in their assault chopper modes. And I gotta say, folks, these do look really decent for being something that's supposed to be alien in appearance. They certainly do carry that over very well. Both their color schemes do seem to work pretty well in this mode. Although I think Whirl nails it a little bit better than Vortex. The bright red and purple isn't selling it as well to me as the dark blue, light blue, and orange is. But that's just one man's opinion. And as you can see on both of them, they also have a cannon sticking out of their nose. And of course you attach the swords to their landing skids. What good that actually does in a fight is beyond me. But if you're also interested, they do swoosh pretty good. And these solid rotors on them do spin. Just to prove it to you. Yeah. Vortex here, it's a little stiffer. They're on here a little more solid on Vortex than what they are on Whirl, so Vortex, I guess, is a little safer toy than what Whirl is. Now we get down to my final thoughts. I kind of like how the design was done for the both of them. It does create the look of being a rather alien helicopter, and it does work well for both of them. Both of them do feature a fair amount of homages to their original toys, but it's primarily more in their bios than in the actual toy itself. So, unfortunately, that kind of hurts them both a little bit. Although I will say Whirl does a slightly better job, as he does have a head sculpt that is something reminiscent of his Generation 1 counterpart. So he will get bonus points for that. But of course, Whirl loses a little bit of it with this silly little weapon of his. While the gimmick is nice, I often wonder if the added weapons for the wreckers was really a necessary thing. But then again, I didn't look at these guys when they first came out, so I guess that's partially my bad. I should have looked and seen if these guys, if there was any more added cost to the Autobot team for coming with a bonus weapon. Or if Hasbro just thought that would be a better gimmick than to just do the repaints. Oh well, we may never know. But if I gotta pick a winner for this round, which I do, as to which one I like better, hands down for it this time around, I gotta go with Whirl, folks. Whirl seems to have more that leans towards the homage for the old school. But I do want to give some points to Vortex, because I do sort of like the colors on him, and the rotor blades do make him a slightly safer toy to give to younger children, as somebody's not going to accidentally hurt themselves. But I want to refrain from endorsing that, because this could just be how it is on mine, than how it is on all of them. Anyway, that concludes this comparison review of Whirl and Vortex. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, drop me a thumbs up here on YouTube. New to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below to join our ranks. Also ring that bell so you'll be notified when we post new content. Please also share this video with your friends. That's what helps this channel grow. And share your thoughts about Whirl and Vortex in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.